Hello, everyone. It's time for Vanishing Land Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanos. This is episode 432, season 18. Today's date is May 10th, 2025, and welcome to the show. On today's program, I'm going to talk about my memories of two brands of bread that no longer exist in the Chicagoland area. One is Silvercup, and the other one is Tip Top. I did a previous podcast episode a long time ago. I talked about other bread bands, and those two were included. Like, for example, Wholesome or Buttermade. There are probably a couple more, but I'm just going to focus on those two today. Also, I'll talk about my memories in Chicago of Mother's Day and when I was a kid, and I'll share that with you. But first, we'll go into a commercial break. And this program is brought to you by Pringles Sour Cream and Onion. And this commercial is from 1986. So, this one of my favorite flavors of potato chips. It really is. The second one is cheddar. I like that. Cheddar and sour cream and cheddar. I love. It's so fattening, but so good. All right. So just sit back and relax and enjoy the commercial, and I will be right back after that. Thank you.
Now, instead of the chip going in the dip's going in the chip. Pringles Sour Cream and Onion Potato Chips.
Where's my dip?
It's in the chip.
Pringles Sour Cream and Onion. The rich taste of sour cream and tangy onions in every bite.
Oh, I love this dip. Even better in the chip.
Pringles Sour Cream and Onion. So delicious because the dip is in the chip. Now try all the great delicious tastes from Pringles.
Okay, everyone, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the commercial for Pringles Sour Cream and Onion. It's still around, but it's called Sour Cream and Onion Crisps, You just changed that. What I like is the can. It's green. That's my favorite color. It's on the commercial. The dip is in the chip. Yeah. I remember when they came out, they were so good. I remember Jay's potato chips. They came out with the same flavor when I was a kid. Those were great. I don't know if they still sell that flavor. I'm not sure. Jay's is still around. Also, what was I going to say? It reminds me of that Seinfeld classic episode where George Costanza went to a funeral or something, and I don't watch the show much, so I'm not really a big fan. I got to get into that, and that's a classic scene where he dips a potato chip and dips it in the dip, and then he dips it again, and some guy walks by and tells him, "You dipped the chip again." Something like that. It's hilarious. They show that clip all the time. I've seen it on the news, and so if you probably can find it on YouTube if you can. As for Pringles, still around. I remember when they were first introduced. I remember my mom bought these at Dominic's for the first time, and we liked them. Most of them come intact, but there might be crumbs on the bottom. But I like them, so they're good. They're really good. Give me the old bag of potato chips. I love that. I try not to eat that much, because it's full of salt, so you got to be careful. But last night I had Doritos, Cool Ranch. I had a few of those. Oh, so good. Okay, at the beginning of the program, I mentioned I'm going to talk about two brands of bread that disappeared in the Chicagoland area. One is Silvercup. The other one is Tip Top. And I would talk about my memories in Chicago. My memories of Mother's Day in Chicago when I was a kid. Let me give you a quick updates for my health. No doctor's appointments, nothing. I'm all right. Yesterday I went for a little walk for 5 minutes, but my left pelvis is hurting. It's probably the lesion. There is a lesion there and it hurts. So the chemo does help, but I haven't had chemo in about 2 weeks. So I'm going on in 9 days for my second one. Hopefully this will help. I try to walk. It's a beautiful day. It's always like that, but I get very tired. So I go for about 5 minutes, at least get some sunshine. And I posted a photo of myself, a selfie, and tell people, people love to hear what's going on about my health because, I'm improving, as for the bathroom issues, I am improving a bit, somewhat. So that's good. That's encouraging. That's good news. Also, this week, the news was, of course, everyone knows that we got a new pope, and he's from Chicago, and his name is Robert Francis Prevost, and he's from. He was born in Chicago. He was born in Mercy Hospital, and he grew up in Dalton, Illinois, and so that's kind of cool, like that, and. When they introduced the new pope, people went bananas. They went nuts, and that's great. I'm so happy. He seems like a very nice man, and I hope he does well. And where he grew up in Dalton, they showed the house and all that. And the church that he was there was not too far from his house. It was in Chicago. It's like Layden Avenue and 130 something, 138. If anyone from the South Side is familiar with the CTA bus route, the 34 South Michigan, that used to run in Roseland, that still runs in Roseland, where we used to live. I used to see the bus from the living room window, and we used to take that bus. That went to the last destination was Layden and 138th, right near the church. We took the bus one time, and we went there for some reason. I don't know why we did. And we saw the bus turn around. I don't think it goes there anymore. I don't think so. So, and of course, they're saying he's a Cubs fan. He's a Sox fan. Yeah, he's a Sox fan. That's nice, And then, they mentioned sports. I don't know what sports have to do with this, with him. I mean, yeah, it's fine. I think people take it to the next level. They go crazy like that. There's so much rivalry, and he loves pizza. They show a picture of him with a group of people. They were at Aurelio's Pizza in Homewood. I've never been there yet. I'd like to go someday. I heard it's awesome, and that's kind of cool. And he was at the 2005 White Sox World Series. They have a photo of him there. Let's see what else. I hope he's a big fan of Chicagoland. I don't know if he followed it. His brothers did? I don't know. It'd be kind of cool if he did. If the Pope is a huge fan of my account, that would make my day. That really would. Okay. All right, so that's it for that. And so I'll keep you updated on my health and what else is going on future podcast episodes. Right now we're going to talk about the two bread brands that are gone, Silvercup and Tip Top. I remember I had more memories of Tip Top bread than Silvercup. I remember seeing that. My mom bought Tip Top bread in the 60s and the 70s, and then, it disappeared. I asked her the other day, do you remember the breads? She goes, yes. I used to buy it. She says, I bought them at High-Low. I bought them at National, Jewel, Dominic's, Colony Foods, A&P. I don't think A&P carried it. Maybe they did. They had their own bread. They had, what's it called? Jane Parker bread. I don't know. So, but usually the breads she bought was Wonder or Butternut, Buttermade, if you remember. And there was Wholesome. I did a podcast episode about Wholesome, an entire episode of that a while back. Excuse me. So, Silvercup, I will give you the history of that in a moment. Here it is. I think the company was from New York and Queens, and the bakery was there, and they had a baking company. It was called the Gordon Baking Company in Detroit. They also had a factory in Chicago. I think. I think it's the one at 55th and the Dan Ryan. I'm not sure. Some people mentioned that. I did because I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything wrong like that. So, but some people have mentioned that as well. And it was a very popular bread out east. And they closed that, and now it's a studio. And they shot a lot of, they did a lot of filming and all that, and TV shows. And you know what? The Silvercup sign is still there. Excuse me. So, but I think they had a factory on the north side as well of Chicago, you know. But the company was found probably a long, long time ago. I don't know who the people were, you know. And that factory in New York was built in the 20s, like that. So, you know, I don't believe I've ever tried Silvercup. Maybe when I was very little, my mom bought it, and I don't remember, you know. But according to most people, it was wonderful. It was delicious, you know, very fresh. As for Tip Top bread, I remember the red and the letter T. It came in colors of red and blue, and there was the T. And I remember seeing the trucks, the bread trucks, that is. And they would drive around. I remember seeing them when I went to Correas when I was little, back in the South Shore or in Damon Avenue. I used to see the trucks drive around like that. And also in the stores, I went shopping with my mom. I saw the breads, the loaf of breads on display. And there was the brands were Mr. Big, and it seems like they were a little bigger than the normal size of a loaf of bread. And I showed this to my mom yesterday, I believe, or the other day, and she goes, "Yeah, I remember Mr. Big. I remember Mr. Big, you know." And so the company was called Ward's Tip Top Bread, and I think it was from. It was from New York, I believe, or I don't think the main headquarters was in Chicago. It was just out east. And let's see. So I remember tasting the bread. It was very good. It was very good. I have a friend of mine I went to school, and he told me that his father was a salesman of that bread. I think he used to drive around, you know, and sell it to companies like that. I don't know the whole story. So that's kind of nice, like that. So Tip Top bread is no longer existing in the United States, but for some strange reason, it is in Australia and New Zealand. But I don't know if it's the same thing. Probably. I have to ask my cousin because she lives there. So Tip Top bread, very popular. I saw a couple commercials on YouTube. They're there if you care to watch, you know. And what I like most about Tip Top bread is it's just the design, you know, the logo of that caught my eye for many years, still does to this day, like that. And so that's kind of nice. It really is, you know. The bread now I eat is butternut, you know. Wonder Bread, they had, I don't know if it's still around. I haven't seen it. You know, they used to be very popular, you know, and then it was part of Hostess. And remember, they went out of business for a while, and then someone bought the company and they brought it back, you know, the Twinkies and the Ding Dongs. One last thing about Tip Top bread, they had a brand called Lucky Cakes. And a lot of people remember that, you know. It was like they're, you know, like cupcakes and all kinds of delicious pastries. Very good. So, you know, today, you know, people are so health conscious, you know, and they refuse to eat bread on their food. I can't do that because I'm Greek and I eat bread. I always say that to people. I love it. My mom, who is 90 years old, still bakes bread to this day. Maybe once or twice a year. And she does that. And it's awesome. It's the most delicious thing she ever made. And she learned it from my grandmother and her mother. You know, my great-grandmother. So Forget. If you go order somewhere, if you go out and you get a burger or a sandwich, and some people don't want the bread, they just dump it. And then they eat it with a knife and a fork, or your hands. I can't eat a hamburger without bread. I just can't do that. It looks naked, and it looks weird. It feels you're missing something. You feel deprived. No thanks. I don't care what they say. Yeah, I know it has carbs. I know it's bad for you, and it makes you fat. But in moderation, you'll be okay. You do what you want. You do what makes you happy. This makes me happy. I think people regret doing that. Okay. So that's it for that. And right now I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to talk about my Chicago memories of Mother's Day. All right. So sit back and relax, and I'll be right back with the rest of the show, folks. Thank you. Okay, everyone, I am back. Now let's talk about my Chicagoland memories of Mother's Day, which is coming up tomorrow. And, happy Mother's Day to everybody. For my mom, I love my mom so much. She's been very supportive ever since my entire life. And then about 5.5 years ago, when I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, when she was with me, when the doctor told me that I had that, and I saw her face, and I'll never forget it. I was going to break down and cry. Oh, I broke down and cried because of me, but when I saw my mom, she was just devastated. It was just awful. So when we came home, I told her, I gave her a big hug. She gave me a big hug. She kissed me and said, "You're going to be all right. You're going to be fine." And she still does that to this day, So I love her for that. I really do. And also my brother. And we kept it a secret for about a month and a half. And then I told him, I got to let people know. We got to let people know. Only close family knew. So I made a video and announced it on social media that I had prostate cancer. And it just went crazy. People went nuts. My followers, my friends, people I used to work with, all the support came in, and it was amazing. And it still is to this day, it's, I was going to quit Chicagoland at the time, but no, I can't let people down. I couldn't do it. I thought about it for 5 minutes, and I thought, nah, forget it. So, for Mother's Day, it's a very special day for me and everyone else. And when I was little, I used to buy cards for her, sometimes candy. She's not a big fan of candy, so I don't stop doing that. And flowers, she likes flowers, but she doesn't want to. She doesn't want me to buy any because they die, and she doesn't want me to waste money. She told me that over the years. But I love flowers, like that. So anyway, traditionally, we go to church, and it's a beautiful day. It's always a beautiful day like that. And then my mom doesn't want to go out to lunch or dinner. She hates that. She don't like crowds. She don't like a big fuss. She'd rather be home with us. And she ends up cooking because she doesn't like sit around, so. But we will help her. We'll help her tomorrow like that. And I remember the times when I was a kid, we used to, me and my brothers would buy presents for our cars. We used to buy them like at a drugstore like Walgreens or Costco. And usually when I was a teenager, I went to Ford City Mall on Southside, and I used to go. There was a card shop. I forgot the name of it. It was a Hallmark one. It was huge, and I would buy her a card there. Mother's Day card or any card, any type of greeting card. And, so that was a fun time like that. And also sometimes other shopping centers, I went to Scottsdale or, right around the neighborhood. There were a couple of drugstores there, like Crestline or Edwards Drugstore. They would have cards. I believe they did. I think Crestline did. we so you know Mother's Day was a very special day, and I remember in the newspapers, like Chicago Tribune or the Chicago Sun-Times, they would advertise. I remember like the stores that are no longer around, like for example, Marshall Field's, it's Macy's, Carson's, Weebolt's, uh, Charles A. Stevens, Litton's, those department stores that were downtown. They would have other stores like Zare, Venture, Turnstile, all that. I'm thinking what else? Sears, of course. Yeah. They advertise heavily on that. I also remember Polk Brothers, and they would have Mother's Day sales that they would have vacuum cleaners, washer and dryers, television sets, any appliance, microwaves, stoves, So that was just a Mother's Day sale, and they would mark down. So you would, if you needed an appliance, or you want to buy something new for your mom, yeah, go ahead. But it sounds kind of, but they like fun gifts, not work gifts like that. It's crazy like that. So you don't find many commercials, for Mother's Day, but now they do these days like that. So it was fun to read in the paper and even like the phone book, but mostly the newspapers, and you see the Mother's Day sales. Later on, it was like Montgomery Ward would have them as well. Yeah, or like dress stores, like Rosalie. My mom used to shop there. Evans for what's another one? William A. Lewis. Like dresses and coats, per se like that. And I remember one time I went to Evergreen Plaza and they had a sign and they had like some store had a Mother's Day sale like that. That was kind of strange. And but mostly I went to Fort City because it was near my house. They had the Woolworths and what other stores? JCPenney, which, believe it or not, it's still there to this day. It has been there since it opened in August of 1965. And I'm going to mention a topic about Fort City in a moment, but before I finish here. And so it was a great mall to hang out. It's a shell now. It's not the same like that. So let's see. So, it's kind of funny because now we have social media, on Facebook and X. They have Mother's Day, and I know a lot of people, and they post pictures of their mom now, current, and when they were kids. I do that too. And I have a few pictures of me when I was a baby. I was a little boy. I'm going to post that later. It's one of my favorite photos of me and my mom. And so. And it's amazing. It really is. It's beautiful like that. Okay. Let me mention about Fort City. I mentioned that I run a Fort City group on Facebook. I had one previously, but somehow Facebook removed it. And I don't know what happened to it. It just disappeared. I can't find it. I was going to ask, but I go, I don't know. I have no idea. So now I created a new one about a couple of years ago, and I had like about 8,000 members. Now I'm down to like almost 700. It's very low, but I'll keep posting. Maybe it'll generate more people like that. Anyway, so for Fort City, the 60th anniversary of the grand opening is coming up in August. And I'm going to do something special for that. I'm going to create a video. I have some photos. There are a lot of photos from a man named Frank Werner. He used to be the engineer there. He was there for over 40 years, long time. And I met him at the unofficial Bogan reunion. I've not met him. I've met him before. He's a nice man. And I told him I'm going to do this. And he goes, oh, that's cool. That's very nice. And I told him I'm going to do a podcast episode. And he said, oh, that's great. Yeah, I will do a podcast episode about it. This will be in August, and I'll talk about do the entirely Fort City 60th anniversary. And that was a big deal back then. There were a lot of events that happened. Anyway, so that's going to be fun. So that's my next project coming up, and I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Okay. So that's it for this show. I'll do a recap of what I talked about. I talked about two bread brands that no longer exist in the Chicagoland area. One is Silvercup. The other one is Tip Top Bread. And then I talk about my memories of Mother's Day in Chicago when I was a kid. And I also mentioned Fort City, the upcoming Fort City 60th anniversary project. This podcast will be published later on today, wherever podcasts are found. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Breaker, Overcast, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, I believe. If you have those apps on your phone, your tablet, or your car, just tap on them, tap follow. You'll receive notifications of the latest episode. You can listen to previous episodes if you like. Also, it'll be published on my blog, www.vanchicagoland.blog. You can subscribe by entering your email. You'll receive a notification of the latest episode, I believe. You can listen to other podcast episodes as you like. Also, it's also on my YouTube channel. And again, people always ask me, where do I find your podcast? Where do I find your podcast? I always tell them, the easiest way to go to your podcast, YouTube. Van Chicagoland Stories, or my name, Pete Costanis. You will find it. Click subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. You can listen. You'll receive a notification of the latest episode. You can listen to previous episodes. They're all there. Help yourself. And you can also listen to your car. If you have CarPlay, go ahead. Or you can stream it on your TV if you have Spotify. Also, be sure to have my social media accounts, Facebook, X, Reddit, LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Okay. That was fun. So, I will not do a podcast episode tomorrow. It is Mother's Day, so I'm going to spend the day with my mom. And so I'm going to take a break. I'll probably do one Tuesday. We'll see about that. Okay. So this is Pete Costanis, your host of Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. Thank you for joining me. It's going to be a lovely day. It'll be a lovely day tomorrow, and I'm just going to relax. Hopefully, maybe I'll walk today. I don't know. We'll see. So just everyone enjoy the weekend. Have a happy Mother's Day. And here's bye-bye for me. And here's a little traveling music from a Chicago legend, Ray Rayner, everyone's favorite guy, saying bye, bye, bye. Take care, everyone, and so long.
We have to go. Bye, bye, bye.